You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe.
What does Walz bring to this?
He's cuddly.
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 Cuddly? I think she went for maybe a little more of a cuddly choice.
It tells more about, like, the texture of the man.
He seems to almost have a twinkle in his eye.
Tim Walz is the opposite of weird.
Tim Walz speaks American.
He sounds like, you know, a football coach.
He's a hunter that you could visit with at the hardware store. In a dictionary, if you had weird and anti-weird, you'd have Tim Walz's picture there.
I bet knows how to make a good hot dish casserole.
He's very down to earth.
It's his authenticity.
Authentic communicator.
The word joy came up a lot.
He's joyful.
He seems happy.
A happy-go-lucky warrior.
And he's happy and a happy warrior.
The joyful warrior.
He is one happy warrior.
A happy warrior.
Reliable.
Definitely affable.
He's an extremely affable individual.
Very affable, plain-speaking way, a folksy vibe. This folksy idea.
Terrific vibe.
Vibes election.
Kind of a folksy guy.
Yes, I know what you're thinking, but surely they won't describe the most far-left governor in the country who put tampons in boys' bathrooms, who backed BLM riots, who gave driver's licenses to illegal immigrants and vowed to provide ladders to help them climb over any border wall that Trump builds. Surely no one would describe this radical as a safe, moderate choice.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
The idea that Tim Walz is some lefty is just not true.
I don't think either of them are Bernie Sanders progressive.
A rather safe pick. I think a safe pick.
The safe choice. This is a do no harm pick. Do no harm.
He's just more of a vanilla pick.
Those outside of Pittsburgh loves Tim Walz. So talk about Walz.
Yes, Walz, Joe, Walz. And while we're on Joe and Mika and their god-awful MSNBC show, let's have a look at this embarrassing bit of grovelling and hero worship from Mike Barnacle. Get your buckets ready. He's about to deliver some sickly sweet hyperbole.
Watching the coach, and I'm going to call him the coach from now until Election Day, watching the coach yesterday and watching the vice president yesterday, it was mesmerizing in the sense that it's been a while since I've seen a rally like that, either on TV or in person. And watching it, you could just sense the power in the hall. And it was the power of joy, the power of laughter, the power of hope for the future. It's been a long time since any aspect of American politics has put a smile on anyone's face. And these two people yesterday managed to put a smile on the nation's face.
Military background? I spent 24 years in the National Guard, some of that full time. I was an artilleryman. I deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. My battalion provided base security throughout the European theater from Turkey to England in the early stages of the war in Afghanistan. And that same battalion is now in Iraq at this time.
Let's have a look at Harris and Walz together.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
It has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place, as opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not...
That's right. That's right. This is the campaign. These are the policies. This is what you're going to get. These are the policies. This is what you're voting. You're voting for this. They have their perfect candidate. Half Indian, half black, attractive woman. every billionaire on earth, this is, if you were going to build a robot in a lab that would be secretly controlled by billionaires, it is Kamala Harris. If Kamala Harris did not exist, billionaires would have to invent her. Half Indian, half black, attractive woman, childless. She's a career, or should I say bish, B-I-S-H. Kamala Harris would have to be invented if she did not already exist. She is hollow in the best way, meaning certain people, when they are hollow, there is something deeply uneasy about them because some of them would want to not be hollow. There is some humanity in them that is trying to escape. Kamala is so at home with her hollowness. She has been eaten by ambition. It is stage 4. It has gone to the brain. It is that laughter. It is that kind of, she is perfectly comfortable with being used as a tool by other people.
You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe. Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won. You just have.
I'm curious to see how people will react